I'm the MadCatster. Am I glad to see you here? Well, Austin McBroom's documentary came out this past week, and he made some very disturbing confessions in that documentary that we're going to talk about right now. So buckle up and let's go. So I'm here with Sybil the Enforcer, and we're going to talk to you today about Austin McBroom's disturbing confession and revelations that he made in the documentary, which was only 17 minutes long, about Social Gloves 1, and his now new excuse about why Gibb won and he lost. And he tells us he's coming out of retirement, which we'll get to that in a minute. But the main thing is something that he told us in the documentary about why it was he allegedly didn't perform his best. And it's left a lot of people in shock because with his narcissism, he apparently doesn't realize the implications of what he is confessing to. But I'll let him tell it to you in his own words. Listen to this.
So leading up to the day of the fight, I was a little under the weather, but nothing that could have affected my performance. The morning of the fight, my energy was low. I wasn't feeling like myself. Just before we jumped on the sprinter, I don't know what it was, but something overcame my body, and that's when I started feeling down again. As we pulled up to the stadium, we hit a stop because there was so much traffic of everybody trying to get to the stadium, and that's when I started feeling like claustrophobic. I felt like I was gonna pass out. Catherine and my team were literally yelling at the driver to just let me out to get some fresh air.
We gotta stop it. He's not feeling good, please.
Stop the car!
I have a fever right now. I'm super hot. I got the chills. I'm sweating. My body's aching. As soon as I was laying there, the commission knew something wasn't right. They were in the locker room with us. The commission keeps asking me, hey, is everything okay? What's going on with you? But they knew something wasn't right. So when I started throwing up countless number of times over and over again, probably for like 5-10 minutes. During my throwing up process, the commission actually came in while I was butt naked, and they were looking at me like, what's going on? Like, you're not okay. Like, you gotta tell me what's going on now. And again, I repeat, the commission had no idea what was going on. And after the fight, I went to the hospital, and sure enough, I was tested positive with COVID.
So you can hear Austin is saying that he basically had COVID on the day of the fight, didn't bother to tell anybody, didn't bother to take any precautions to protect other people, went ahead and exposed himself to everyone, including his family and people at a hospital and his opponent and everyone else.
As much as they wanted to keep me in the hospital because my fever was like at 104, I just wanted to get back home to my family. That's all I could think about.
And now that's if you believe that that's really true. And I'll explain to you what I mean by believe, because I have my doubts about what he's saying. Something inside of me says that he's just looking for a reason to get back into the ring and to excuse his loss to Gibb. So before the documentary came out, and I did my last video on this, they did a pre-documentary release video. And, you know, by the way they talked it up, I thought this thing was going to be like an hour long. Well, it was 17 minutes long, and basically it was just an excuse video is what it was, and didn't really give us a huge insight into how he prepared for this fight. Well, in the pre-documentary announcement video, Catherine said some interesting things. Listen to this.
You said we were filming a documentary. That is true, but I do want to say that the footage that was from 6 months ago was not planned to be a documentary. We just so happened, by the grace of God, to have some footage, but we were not actually filming that day like that. It just so happens that there was camera people that happened to get certain shots and certain reactions and certain things, and the camera wasn't even like an idea.
So Catherine says they didn't plan to make a documentary, and basically all this footage wasn't intentional, blah, blah, blah. This caused me to go back and look at a couple of videos from just before the fight. One was called It's Fight Day, and then one Austin made the day after the fight. And both of these are kind of important for a couple of reasons. Okay, so on It's Fight Day, Catherine makes a specific reference to them making a documentary about Austin preparing for his fight and the fight. Listen to this.
Guys, you're about to watch Austin in the ring with Gibb. This has been long overdue. This is something that Austin has been working on for so long. Maybe one day we'll release like a documentary or something about this entire experience.
That sounds to me like they were filming on purpose and they intended to make a documentary, and because he lost, it just got put off for 6 months, and so now they're making it, but now it's more of an excuse video about why he lost and preparing people for his return. Now, like they've done in the past, in this It's Fight Night video, they claim that they're going to select 5 supporters at random that they're going to meet up with. Either they're going to fly to them, they say, or they're going to have them come out, but one way or the other, they're going to meet up. Listen to this.
Also, if you click that link down below in order to fight, by supporting the event, we're going to be picking 5 of you, 5 Ace family members. Whether you guys fly to us or we fly to you, we're going to be meeting you guys sometime shortly after the event, so we're super excited for that. So don't be surprised if we email you.
Click that specific link. That link right there. Use that link, and we'll be picking 5 of you at random.
Now, I don't know about you guys, but I never heard anything after the fight of them meeting up with anybody. So You know, in my opinion, this is just another Ace family promise that was broken. And I'd be very surprised if anything ever came of that. My guess is it was just more hype to get people to watch the fight or to follow them on their social media. Something else is interesting that in the It's Fight Night video, Austin goes out of his way to tell us that he's in a different location. He's in a house that it's not their house and it's not the house they're living in now. But he needs a quiet place before the night of the fight, and that Catherine is going to leave and he's going to be staying there apparently on his own, and that the next time he says he'll see Catherine is in the locker room at the fight. So listen, this is what he said.
It is the night before, and as you can probably tell, I am in a new location. Well, we both are in a new location right now. Nice little spot. So we are here because I definitely needed a different scenery, and I needed some time away so I can focus.
Alone.
All right, so real quick before Catherine says goodbye to me, and the next time she'll see me is in the locker room moments before the fight.
Now you heard that, right? So what's interesting to me is now in this documentary, apparently Catherine was there right along, because there's this dramatic moment that it's really weird. It's like filmed completely in the dark and you can't even really make out or see anything, but apparently Austin's feeling ill on the way to the fight, and oh, what a trooper he is, but they've got to stop the van so that he can get out on the way to the arena because he's not feeling well. And Catherine says this:
"We gotta stop it. He's not feeling good, please.
Stop the car!
Okay, so if he didn't see her until the next day at the locker room or at the arena, why is she in the van with him? And his mother's there, I think, and other people are there with him. So either this was filmed after the fact, which I have my suspicions, and I'll talk about that a little bit more in a second, or Austin completely lied to us when he told us that Catherine was going to leave him there so that he could be on his own for the night. And I have some other questions about this documentary where they show him getting an IV, which that in itself isn't suspicious because, he may have felt dehydrated the day of the fight and needed some kind of an IV. But there's a couple of things. One is, I can't believe that they wouldn't have tested them. He makes it sound like they knew he was sick, but for some reason didn't inquire further or demand a test. I found that to be very strange. And then there's some footage where they're in an underground garage, I think, and Catherine comes up. Now, something I noticed that's interesting, and the reason why I said before, I wonder if this was footage that was made afterwards. In other words, when they finally put the documentary together, they had to come up with some dramatic footage about Austin being sick, and that's why he lost, but he didn't want to take anything away from Gibb. And, oh, Austin, you're amazing that you went and fight when you were infecting half of the population with whatever it was you had if you were really sick, which doesn't mean you're a hero. It means you're a freaking idiot. And you're completely narcissistic, self-centered, selfish bastard is what it means. And there's this, so look at this scene where Catherine comes up to him in the garage. And I want you to look at it because I'm going to show you something else from the press conference before the fight. And I want to tell you what it is I saw that seemed weird to me. And maybe I'm just being a little overly cynical. I don't know. You guys tell me. But look at this.
And then I took Advil, slept for 2 hours.
Where's the Advil?
And then I tried to get some in there, and then it started feeling better. And when I was like, let's go. I never had that moment of
You can see Catherine, and you see her hair, and you see how long her hair is. And it looks like it's cut straight across in the back, and it's hanging pretty long. Now, look at these photos from the press conference just before the fight and from the video the night before the fight. And tell me, is it just me, or does that look like her hair is different in the documentary footage than it was in the pre-fight footage? Something just doesn't look right to me. But you tell me down below. Look at these side by side and tell me down below what you think. I could just be being overly cynical, like I said, but her hair doesn't look right to me. It doesn't look like the same haircut in the press conference. And then the day of the fight documentary where they're actually at the arena. So the day after the fight, now, and keep in mind, you've heard Austin talk about how sick he was, getting an IV. You've seen him allegedly have to get out of the van on the way to the venue because he's so sick. And allegedly they had to take him to the hospital. And the reason wasn't because Gibb kicked his butt, but because he was suffering from the effects of COVID. This is particularly cringy. This is now the day after the fight. Now, look at his appearance, demeanor, the way he's talking, and tell me if that doesn't look like someone who's not sick.
And I'm sure you all can probably tell I just woke up. It's currently 9:41 in the morning, and I'm here to be as real and as raw as I can be. Last night was so much fun. It really was. I can honestly say that I had the time of my life. I really did. Oh man.
So my question is, I fortunately did not ever contract it, the virus that I know of, and I've been vaccinated, but is there such a thing as the 24-hour COVID? Because Austin seems to have made a miraculous recovery for somebody who was sick as a dog the night before and insisted on leaving the hospital to go be with his family, so I guess he could infect all of them as well. Sounds very reasonable, but look at him in that video. Does he look sick to you? He does not look sick to me. And then the last thing that I found really cringy was in the day after the fight video, Austin says this.
I got a funny story to tell you guys. Last night when I got to the hospital, there was a few doctors, a few nurses that knew who I was. A few of them were part of the Ace family, and they had the nerve to ask me, Austin, what happened? Oh man.
So what kind of a narcissist do you have to be that he thinks that he's so aggravated because he goes to the hospital, he claims that there are a couple of staff members who are fans of the Ace family, but he's annoyed because people don't know why he's there. They don't know that he's just had a fight, that he had this big world-class millions of viewers fight, I say with a great bit of sarcasm, and he's annoyed. How dare you not know that I'm Austin McBroom and that I just fought? That doesn't sound like something that a doctor or a nurse would say to a COVID patient. They wouldn't say, how did this happen? So clearly he's referring to, and remember, this is the day after the fight. So this was right after it happened. He's telling this story, and it sounds to me like his condition from having been knocked around in the fight is what they're talking about. That would, logically, someone would say to you, how did this happen? You wouldn't say that if somebody has tested positive for the virus. You wouldn't say, how did this happen? That's just not what I would consider to be a normal reaction, okay? So this whole thing to me sounds like it was all concocted to give an excuse for why Austin lost the fight, other than the fact that Gibb just beat the tar out of him, and he's trying to give people a reason why, see, I wasn't at my best, this horrible thing happened to me, that's why I'm really still undefeated if you don't count that last fight. Now, this is the other thing that drives me crazy. He talks about his boxing career, okay? Now, Social Gloves 1 was an exhibition fight, so it wasn't a pro fight. So technically, the very first pro fight he had was this one with Aneson Gibb, Social Gloves 2, and he lost it. So he's won this many pro fights, okay? I don't call that a career. When you fought one and lost one, that's not a career. At the end of the documentary too, he's talking about how, he's going to be fighting all over Europe coming up, and he's so excited to get back into it, even though it's only been 6 months since he fought and lost that fight against Gibb. And so he's coming out of retirement? It's just absolutely bananas. But he talks about how all of these sponsors have been contacting him and wanting to work with him. But of course, and listen to him say it.
And so we had a long talk. Obviously the question came up of me getting in the ring again. Everyone kept asking, Austin, are you gonna get in the ring again? I had all these outlets and people texting me nonstop about, hey, you should get back in, man. You're a warrior, you have heart. And after having a long talk with Catherine, surprisingly, she was the one convincing me to get back in the ring. Since I got the approval from, the wife, happy life, it's time for me to step back in the ring. I also had a long talk with myself, and I told myself, in order for me to fight again, I don't want Social Gloves to be involved. It's too much to try to focus on everything at once and try to make everything happen. So I want to thank all the promotion companies who reached out to me the last 6 months and are giving me an opportunity to get back in the ring. I'm super excited. Unfortunately, I can only choose one promotion company to fight with, and I did just that.
He can only select one. So, you poor people who were trying to get a deal with Austin and the Ace family. Feel so bad for you that you lost out, and that only one of the many, many sponsors who have been dying to work with them got selected. And of course, he doesn't even name the sponsor. So part of me, given his history, makes me say, do they really have a sponsor? Or is he hoping now that people will start contacting him? That sounds more in keeping with the way they usually do things. But I don't know. We'll see what comes of it. If he really does have boxing matches lined up in Europe, I don't know. But let me know what you think. I just think that he went and exposed all of these people selfishly and without any concern for anyone else, including his own family. I don't think that's something to be lauded. I don't think that's something that deserves sympathy. I think it deserves scorn, and I think it's well-deserved scorn. But you let me know what you think. Thank you to our Patreon patrons. Thank you so much for all of your support. Thank you to all of our channel members. I also want to thank somebody from the Amazon wish list. I want to thank Rita C for the 2 cases of Friskies canned cat food. Thank you so much. If you want to send the cat something, I've updated the list. The link to their wish list is down below. The first episode of my Totally Gnarly podcast, I'm recording today. Be on the lookout for it. If I get it edited, it'll be up tonight. Otherwise, it'll be out tomorrow. It's going to be both an audio and video version, so I will be posting it on YouTube. There's a new playlist I have called Podcasts. Look for it there. We're going to be having guests on. In the meantime, you guys take care of yourselves, and we will see you in the next one.
Pretty please. Subscribe, like, and hit the bell. I get a treat for every new sub. Thank you.